G'day, my name's Pete and today I'm going to tell you about an amazing journey from Hobart to Queenstown via Derwent Bridge by public bus. I'll show you where to get on, I'll show you along the route, the towns, and we'll talk about, most importantly, the frequency of the service and how much it will cost. So we start off at a place called Hitton Hall in Brisbane Street. It's even got a timetable, which is good, and it shows there is a bus at 8:15. It also shows a photo of the little bus that'll take us up to Derwent Bridge before we change buses. The Area Connect West Coast Hobart bus service. So here we are, we have the Community Connect bus coming here. Or something like it. Yeah, here he is, the Community Connect service. It's a smaller bus than on most Tasmanian routes, so choose your seat carefully. Community Connect bus. We're going to go all the way to Queenstown, change a bus in Derwent Bridge. So yes, a change of bus required at Derwent Bridge, but this is very carefully coordinated by the two sets of bus drivers between the two companies that operate the service. See exactly where we board. It's at 66 Brisbane Street. It used to be a former Tassylink depot and transit centre. Now it's Hitton Hall, student accommodation, and to get from the middle of the town from the GPO, it's about a 700 metre walk. Down the bottom you can see the Hobart Transit Centre. That's where the intercity services leave from, and that's an alternative way to go to Queenstown if you want to travel by Launceston, Devonport and Burnie. The convenience is shown, and the convenience closest to the Area Connect departure stop is in Melville Street. It's actually in the Melville Street car park. So the stop is well marked, pretty easy to find, as is the Hobart Transit Centre for services to Launceston. So we depart. It's nice to have a different sort of place and area to depart from. Normally we go from Macquarie Street and Elizabeth Street and probably sick to death of all those lovely old buildings. Well, we've got a different set of lovely old buildings here. Now, we turn right into Elizabeth Street, which is the Hobart main drag, the historic old tram route to Glenorchy. It's the main drag up to North Hobart. It's all walkable from Hobart. And there we see the Empire Hotel, which was the first hotel in Tasmania to ban smoking. We also videoed the other side of Elizabeth Street. It's now called Midtown. So you've got the centre of Hobart, the mall, then Midtown, then North Hobart. And there you can see Room for a Pony, which used to be a service station, but now is a rather trendy cafe. And there you can see right up to the restaurant strip. Let's have a look at this bus route. It's a cracker. Hobart, going up to Derwent Village in New Norfolk. At Ooze we stop. That's a toilet stop there. At Tarralewa we go see some sensational infrastructure. And at Derwent Bridge we change buses from Area Connect to Tassylink. So even though the service only operates twice a week, you can go in both directions on those 2 days of operations, Tuesdays and Fridays. We change at Derwent Bridge onto the Tassylink service, which gets us to Queenstown. The little Area Connect service goes back to Hobart. Okay, those stats. 259 kilometres. It takes you 4 hours 45 minutes. Now, if you do like this, consider giving me a like. Consider subscribing. I really appreciate all that sort of stuff. I'll be very grateful. Okay, here we leave and we're going up past the Glenorchy Intercity stop, just in case you wonder where that ever is. I've had a lot of requests to do this trip from Hobart to Queenstown. It doesn't have a bus route number. It's not run in the normal way, but the fares are the same as on other bus routes in Tasmania. And it's also now running permanently. It was running on a temporary basis. It's now running permanently. So a unique service, but a very special service. There you can see Arthur Square as we arrive in New Norfolk. Big place, population of over 6,000. No passengers there for Queenstown, so we go past the bus station. And when we cross the River Derwent, it's much narrower than we're used to seeing in Hobart. We go up the Derwent Valley, you can see the river now and then. The old disused railway track, they hope to get trains back onto it in tourist capacity. Let's see. There's some more snaps of the Derwent River, and you can see that there's a bit of rapids going on there. Fantastic. Now, a graveyard. Yes, it's a graveyard at Gretna. And Gretna is a small place. There's only a couple of hundred people in Gretna. And you can see the Gretna Green Hotel. Let's have a look at that one in more detail there. Here we go. Nice old place for a meal and a beer if you want that. Next town, Hamilton, same sort of size, about 200. You can see St Peter's up there. Not a big place, and we've probably got the wrong side to really do Hamilton any justice. There's another one of these very small settlements. And now we go over the River Ouse, and that means we're very close to the Ouse Comfort Stop in this lovely little town. Again, it's got a nice pub. We were on the wrong side of the bus to take video of the pub. Anyway, we stop at there, and we've got about 15 minutes.
Brand new toilets here at Ouse. Waiting for the bus. An area there. Right, we're stopped here at the Ouse Roadhouse, and that's because we've got a toilet stop here outside the community facility. Brand new toilets to the right of the bus. Here we are at Ouse.
We glide past the road to Wayatina Power Station, which was built in 1957. There's only about a couple of dozen people who live there now, but there's certainly a lot more trees. You get so much varied vegetation along the route, it's sensational. Now, I really like tree ferns or man ferns. I grow them in my garden in Hobart, and I'm just thrilled to see live man ferns all growing by themselves. Hell of a lot of rain here. Now, what does that mean? Well, a lot of rain means a lot of water. And here we see the very famous Tarraleah penstokes, where the water is funneled down from storages down through the Tarraleah Power Station. There you can see the penstoke from the car. We took a car once to have a look. Going down the hill on the bus, this is the Nive River we can see at the bottom there, and on this occasion we can see not one power station, and there's Tarraleah, and that was built in 1934, Tarraleah Power Station across the Nive River, but in the distance we can see the Tunganita Power Station, and that was born in 1953. Yeah, there we go. Absolutely a sensational one. And what I really enjoy about some of this industrial infrastructure, it really gives you this feeling of yesteryear. Power is so important. We have double the national per capita for producing electricity, mostly hydroelectric. Here's a better view of the Tarraleah penstokes going down to the Tarraleah power station and scanning back over the Nive River. Yes. Great place to have a picnic, if you like power stations.
Tunganita Power Station, fundamental cornerstone of the hydroelectrification 50s and 60s, which made Tasmania very efficient in energy sourcing and attracted a lot of industry to Tasmania. Nice little resting place here.
Back on the bus now, that's where I'm the happiest, and this service is absolutely sensational. I'm just loving every minute of it, and there's plenty more highlights to come. In the right hand side there you can just see we're going past Lake Brodie, which is good, and now this is the geographical centre of Tasmania. Yes, this is the physical middle of Tasmania. This bit of lake here and this bit of bush here. Bronte Lagoon is what we can see. Another bit of hydroelectric development. And look, I should really say there has been the controversies over the years about too much development and the destruction of beautiful West Coast wilderness. But let's leave it at that. There's the Nive River, and that's what we saw in Tarraleah. Now we're in Derwent Bridge. We're going to change buses here.
Tasmanian bus there in the distance. Thank you very much. Oh. Here we are, Derwent Bridge. The Hungry Wombat Cafe. This looks like our onward bus, Tassie Link to Queenstown. We're It's refuelling. Nice big coach for us. We might get something to eat here. We've got the Wombat Cafe, so we're going to eat here. The Taslink bus to Queenstown, and we've just come here on the Area Connect bus. So there's a transfer of passengers and luggage from the Area Connect bus from Hobart to the Queenstown bus. And we've just been at the hungry Wombat Cafe, given the pub has been closed.
Yeah, I should mention that there's also passengers who come from Queenstown change here for the bus back to Hobart. But having a coach is absolutely delightful. Here we show the normal Derwent Bridge Hotel, where it's the more typical transfer place. Not too sure whether this will be a transfer spot for a while, but then you can see the normal Taslink bus, which is a lot smaller than the lovely big coach that we have. And off we go, and heading off on our 86-kilometre final leg of this amazing journey. And there is certainly amazing things to see up the road, breathtaking. We are very close to Lake St Clair, which of course is the source of our glorious River Derwent in Hobart.
So what have we got? Oh, the River Derwent. The River Derwent, here we go. That's where it all starts, the River Derwent.
Did you get it?
Yeah. Yeah. And the pub undergoing renovation.
Oh, it's the name of the area.
Yeah. That's where we've changed in the past. Here we go. It's all closed by the looks of it. There. That's it.
There are so many highlights along the route from here to Queenstown. There is what we think is Mount King William. Please do correct me if I got that wrong. That's where I think we are. But there are many different highlights throughout the journey. Many different types of terrain to see. Would be plunging down gullies, crossing very densely forested, then going across lovely creeks and going past water features. Oh, it's pretty awesome. It just keeps on going and going for me. We continue on, and you really feel as if you're in some remote part of the world, not just Tasmania, but the whole world. This is sort of touching the wilderness area, but even though there's a road and a bus route there for people. Just imagine this in the snow. I will try and do that in the future. But you can also see the destruction of bushfires here. It's a climate, it's got a heavy rainfall, but a lot of variation.
Lake Burberry. Beautiful. A sunny day, little wind. Sensational.
Vistas of Lake Burberry. What more do you want? Well, we actually got in our car a few months back before this bus trip and shot the other side of the Lake Burberry from the car window. So sorry about using the car, but pretty good footage. Well, the handrail shows so much better to be on the bus. Now, coming out further to Queenstown is the Mount Owen Ranges, I believe. We're starting to now climb up the Mount Owen Ranges before a sharp descent into Queenstown. And there you can see us in the car on a previous occasion where we descended down the Mount Owen Ranges to Lake Burberry. Now, here we go. It's a wonder. And this is the beauty. This is the beauty of being on a bus. You can see things right at the top of the window you cannot see from a car. It's impossible. The angle is wrong. And I've done some video of this. So that's the beauty of being on a bus. So we get to Gormanston. There's only about 30 people living in Gormanston, but it's the first settlement we've had for quite a while, going through a lot of wilderness area. We get to the top of the range and there is a car park there where people can park and go and have a look at the Horsetail Falls, which are quite interesting. Now, look at the terrain. Look, and it looks a bit like a moonscape. Why do you say does it look like a moonscape? Now, you can see some recovery. The plants have recovered. What's been going on here? Well, go back to 1896, just about the time that Queenstown was founded. They were mining copper here, and the big company involved over many is Mount Lyon. Now you can see down in the valley there's Queenstown. There's the first glimpse of Queenstown we get. Now, going down this descent is just sensational and scary. But back to the moonscape. Why is this looking like a moonscape? Look, the trees were removed because they needed lots of timber for the copper smelters. They had to melt the copper, and then the fumes from the smelters further killed vegetation. So you had these sort of very strange landscapes around Queenstown. And then the heavy rainfall caused erosion and made it hard for things to grow. But look, there has been some recovery, and some of the locals don't like it. But looking on this bus, it's absolutely sensational. Beautiful driving by Michael, the Tassie Link driver, and all the coach drivers out of Queenstown. They just glide these buses down. You're looking down these very sharp views down to the bottom of valleys and down off escarpments.
That's where we just came from, up there. Here's Queenstown.
Despite the excellent bus driving, it's quite a relief to get down onto more terra firma. The video doesn't do that descent justice, but it's great to be down in Queenstown. 1,800 people now. Mount Lyell, the copper company, they closed in 2014, waiting for better conditions. But here is Orr Street.
Paragon Theatre here at Queenstown. What a trip that was. So we've finally got here from Derwent Bridge to Queenstown at the terminus there, and we're opposite the Empire Hotel. There we go. We made it. And we got the railway station here. The Wilderness Railway at Queenstown Station. Whoa! It is amazing. We've just come off an amazing bus trip down from Derwent Bridge, just a normal passenger bus, and I've caught this train before. No, it's amazing.
Phenomenal.
So this is where the West Coast Wilderness Railway carriages sleep. I've done a whole YouTube on the Wilderness Railway, and the link will be below if you want to have a look at that video.
In Queenstown we can see Orr Street, the main street, and the post office in the background. You can also see some devastation of recent bushfires, quite a big burning there, and then the Empire Hotel, the glorious Empire Hotel. This is the Queenstown Post Office.
I really love some of these old buildings in Queenstown. Been coming here on and off for about 55 years, and I never get sick of wandering around Queenie, as the locals call it. Let's just have a look at where you can get a bus to get out of Queenstown. Yes, it's in right next to the Tracks Cafe and the West Coast Wilderness Railway, opposite Empire Hotel. Very easy to find. Okay, let's talk about the timetable. Tuesdays and Fridays, excluding public holidays. It doesn't run on public holidays. Good Friday, I would assume. Leaves Hobart at 66 Brisbane Street. 8:15 it leaves on those 2 days, and you've got to change at Derwent Bridge. It arrives there about 11. You've got about half an hour to change. That's good enough time to have a coffee and something to eat, which is very nice. Depart Queenstown the other way at 9:15. Again, you've got half an hour to change at Derwent Bridge if you're going to Hobart. One-way fare, adult, $20.80. Now, that's a half-price fare. Cost of living measured by state government until the end of June 2025. Combined fares for a concession ticket is $10.40. You only have to have one ticket for the 2 legs. Now, the student fare, I believe, is about $1. That's pretty good. Cash and FPOS available on board, but you have to pay the exact change. He doesn't carry any change. And you pay on the Hobart to Derwent leg. So you don't pay at Queenstown or Derwent Bridge, you pay on that. Contact Area Connect for further information. They're a cheery lot and they're very helpful. And it's a great little service that's been contracted by the state government. Highly recommended. But if you are in Queenstown, you don't have to stay there for 3 days before you can get out of the area. There is a daily bus and that goes to Burnie. In fact, you can then go to Devonport, to Launceston, back to Hobart. If you're going to do this, it's not difficult. You've got to leave Hobart at 6 o'clock and arrive in Queenstown at 6 o'clock at night, 12 hours. But the other way, of course, probably more relevant, 8:20, you leave the Queenstown, arrive in Hobart at 8:50 at night. Quite a long day. I've done a YouTube on how to get from Queenstown to Hobart in a day in great detail, so there's a link below for that. You either leave Hobart or Queenstown at 9:30 and you get to your destination, no problem at all. 3 different bus companies are involved in running those services. On Sunday, yep, you cannot get from Queenstown to Hobart in a day. You have to have overnight somewhere in Devonport, and so you can get to Hobart in the middle of the following day. Right, you've got to pay 3 separate fares. There's no through fare. You add up the 3 fares, it's $40.80 for full adult, $21.40 for concession, and just $4 for children and students. Cash and FPOS available on board, but no FPOS on the TassieLink service between Queenstown and Burnie. Contact TassieLink then. You can contact them on that number. There's also a contact number for Kinetic for the local Devonport to Northwest Express and the intercity service as well. Do consider subscribing if you have enjoyed this. I've enjoyed doing it. Thank you so much. We're going to finish with a bit of a treat.
Well, here we are at Queenstown in the morning. It's about 7:30 and we've got about 50 minutes before our bus goes to Burnie. So we've been looking around for a place at brekkie and we found it. Yes, it's a new cafe, new orange cafe. And just to give you perspective, there is the post office. Okay, let's go in. Oh, what a lovely place this is. And it's full of orange stuff and looks marvellous. Now we've had brekkie here, beautiful sandwiches and coffee. I'll just show you down here. Key's had a cup of tea. Look, everything's orange. Worth a try.
Orange plates.
Now I believe the opening hours here are going to be 6 a.m. to 12 midnight. So it's sort of 7 days a week, open all hours thing to, obviously they're dealing with a lot of people on shift work here. So these YouTubes are all about traveling around Tasmania by bus. I've just discovered Orange Pete's orange transport for the Orange Pete Cafe. Here we go.